Hello, welcome and namaskar. Z-test of significance of single mean, but now this time we are with a case, a problem where we are going to study a one-tailed test. And again, this time I am here with a problem inspired from a real life case. The case is the Chief Manager of Customer Relationship Management (CRM) department of a very fast growing company needs to appoint a stenographer because the CR manager needs to write so many letters or mails, etc. After following the routine procedure of recruitment and selection by the HR department, the list of 5 shortlisted candidates have been provided to the CR manager, and she wants to make the final selection strictly on the basis of the performance of the candidates in the role of stenographer only. She wants to select a candidate with a speed of taking dictation at the rate of at least 120 words per minute. The problem she is facing is that the candidates having passed their course examination with that speed, means 120 words per minute, were not found fluent in English according to necessity, and the candidates who found fluent in English and have been shortlisted have passed the course exam of their stenography schools with a speed of 100 words per minute only. Yeah, practical problem. The candidate who has been ranked first in the list has claimed that she can take dictation at a speed of 120 words per minute most of the times because of her continuous practice on enhancing her speed of taking dictations even after passing her course exam. Yeah. The CR manager, she is very wise. The CR manager decided to verify her claim of the speed of 120 words per minute. For that, she arranged 100 trials with the help of a dictation machine, of course. The statistical analyst helping the CRM in this whole exercise found that in these 100 trials, the stenographer demonstrated a mean of 116 words per minute with a standard deviation of 15 words. Yes, 100 trials were given and it was analyzed that what is the average speed of taking dictation, and it was found that through that 100 trials the speed mean is 116 words per minute with a standard deviation of 15 words. Can the claim of the stenographer be rejected on the basis of these 100 trials? Yeah. Can the claim of the stenographer, what is the claim of the stenographer? She can take dictation at the speed of 120 words per minute most of the times. That means 120 words per minute, the claim by the candidate should be taken as the average speed of her, say, recent time. That means that should be taken as population mean in this case. See, case studies and normal problems and solutions. What is the difference between these two? In case of case studies and real life problems, you and me as a student must have a comprehension ability. The real life cases differ from the bookish problems by that thing. They need a greater extent of comprehension ability from us. In this case, nothing has been given in the language like population means, sample size, etc., etc. That is the biggest difference between any bookish problem and this particular problem. Can the claim of the stenographer, what is the claim of the stenographer? I can take dictation at a speed of 120 words per minute most of the times. That means recently my average speed is this. That means this should be taken as population parameter. 120 should be taken as population mean in this particular case. Yes? Be rejected on the basis of these 100 trials. What is these 100 trials? This is a sample. In case of dictation, the sample can be made of the real dictations only. And with the speed of that dictation machine, 100 trials of dictation, giving dictation to that particular candidate was arranged. So these 100 trials is sample. So 100 is the sample size. 116 is mean or average of these 100 trials. That means this is sample mean. And 15 is sample standard deviation. Now in this case, we can say that the population standard deviation is not known. But the more important thing is sample size. That is 100. That is more than 29 or 30, that means this is a case of large sample, and in case of a large sample, we don't bother about the fact whether the population standard deviation is available or not. This becomes the large sample test of single mean, because there is only one candidate, so one population, one sample, that means one mean. So this is the case of single mean. Now how can we say that this is a one-tailed test? See the words. Can we reject the claim of the stenographer? What is the claim? I can take dictation at the rate of 120 words per minute. When can we reject this claim? If her or stenographer speed proves to be less than 120 word minute. Because we cannot have a problem with a speed greater than 120 words per minute. This is something like at least 120. If she can really take dictation at the rate of exactly 120 words per minute or more than 120 words per minute, we have no problem. We have problem if her speed proves to be less than 120. That means this is one-tailed test. We can reject her claim, or we prefer to reject her claim only if her speed in these 100 trials proved to be less than 120. Now someone can say that it has been already proved her average speed in 100 trials is 116, so it is less than 120. No, here the importance of the testing of hypothesis is just only on the basis of sample statistics. We cannot claim, we cannot reject any kind of claim. Here the importance, the role of testing of hypothesis comes. On the basis of the sample error, etc., we can perform test of hypothesis, and only on the basis of such kind of sample we can arrive at a conclusion of the whole population. This characteristic of 116 words per minute is present in the whole population or not? Practically 116 words per minute is the average speed for only these 100 trials or for the whole population, that means for all dictations she can take. So we are interested in rejecting her claim only if her speed proves to be less than 120. But less than 120 not only for the sample taken, but for the whole population, for say present and near future in which she is going to take dictation. We can make the conclusion for that purpose. So this is the case of one-tailed test, because only if it is proved that her speed is less than 120 for population as a whole for a reasonable time of future also, then only we can reject her claim. That's why this becomes one-tailed test. Please take note of this thing, because many of the students always face confusion even after learning the calculation part and every step of testing of hypothesis. They are confused whether any particular case is of one-tailed test or two-tailed test. That's why at a cost of repetition I am explaining all these things. Okay, now statistics. Her claim is 120 words. So 120 becomes the population mean. Mu. Okay, 100 trials, as we have already discussed, this becomes the sample. So 100 becomes sample size. In this sample, her speed is 116 words per minute, so it becomes sample mean. 116. Sample mean is x bar. And standard deviation, sample standard deviation, because standard deviation of 15 is for these 100 trials only. Or you can take it as best estimate of population standard deviation. Yes? Okay, now we have everything, but the last sentence which I have not read is, the analyst has decided to take 1% level of significance. The CR manager is very much strict. Level of significance, it is nothing but it is the probability of committing type 1 error. Even though the hypothesis is true, we reject it. That is the risk factor. Alpha is 0.01, but this is case of one-tailed test, because we reject her claim of average of 120 words per minute only if her speed proves to be less than 120. So it is one-tailed test, and therefore no need to divide the alpha by 2. Okay. Now what about the null hypothesis? Very simple null hypothesis. What is it? The claim of the stenographer is acceptable. That means her speed of taking dictation is 120 words per minute, or say more. HO will be mu is 120. Now, if this null hypothesis is rejected, what is our counter argument? That is called alternative hypothesis. Yes, alternative hypothesis. What is alternative hypothesis in this case? The claim of the stenographer is not acceptable. That is, her speed of taking dictation is yes, when can we reject or not accept her claim? If speed is less than 120. If it is greater than 120, we have no problem. Is less than 120 words per minute. So HA or H1 will be mu is less than 120. Yes, one tail test. Okay, so this is one tail test. Now let's first of all go for critical value. Again, let's have a look. Why should we treat this as Z test? Since the sample size is 100, this is large sample, 30 or more sample size is called large sample, that we all know. Yeah, and only one population, that means only one sample, that means only one mean. So, because of sample size, it becomes Z test. Because of the kind of data, statistical data, it becomes a test of single mean. So, this is not T test, this is Z test, and the result is sample size. In case of large sample, it is not a matter of say greater importance whether we are using sample standard deviation or population standard deviation. For more discussion about this, please watch the lecture number Z test 1. I have already discussed various relevant things in that lecture. Okay, critical value. What is critical value? Alpha 0.01 and take the table of T values, the last row, infinite degrees of freedom, column of 0.01, alpha 0.01, and the value comes to 2.326. Okay, 2.326. Since this is the case of less than the parametric value, we can say that minus 2.326, but don't bother about the sign of z value at present. First of all, we are going to calculate. This is called test statistic or observed value of z or calculated value of z. Z is sample mean minus population mean upon standard deviation divided by square root of sample size. That is 116 minus 120 divided by 15 divided by under root 100. That is 116 minus 120 divided by 15 divided by 10. So it is minus 4 upon 1.5. So Z comes to minus say 2.6666. So we are going to take 2.67, 2.667, sorry, because the critical value is with 3 decimal places. Okay, as I had told in the previous lecture, as a student and as a teacher, I prefer to use the method of comparison of calculated value and critical value of the test statistic. And I had always advised my students to use sign of modulus. So modulus Z equals to 2.667. Now critical value is 2.326. So let's compare Z calculated, Z critical. Calculated Z is 2.667 modulus and critical value is 2.326. Since we consider these as non-negative, this is also non-negative and greater. That means calculated value of Z is greater than critical value. And when the calculated value of test statistic is greater than the critical value, the null hypothesis is rejected. Yes, what is HO? What is null hypothesis? Her claim is acceptable, but we reject this hypothesis. That means her claim is not acceptable. That will be the conclusion. Conclusion will be the claim of the stenographer is not acceptable. Yes, on the basis of these 100 trials and statistical data relevant to these 100 trials and the process of testing of hypothesis, we can say that she cannot actually take dictation at a speed of 120 words per minute. Though she has actually claimed. This is statistical conclusion. What about the managerial decision or managerial conclusion? It is very simple thing that we can tell her that it has been proved through these 100 trials that you cannot take dictation at 120 words per minute. In this 100 trials at least, it has been proved that her speed is less than 120 words per minute. Now forget this test and let's go to the real case. If you or me are on the place of that CR manager, what should we do or what can we do? Should we appoint her or not? Yes, since all the candidates, rather 5 shortlisted candidates, have passed their course examination at a speed of 100 words per minute, This only candidate had claimed that she can take dictation at 120 word minute, though she failed. But the difference between this particular candidate and other four is none of the other four has claimed that their speed is greater than 100. She dared to claim her speed of 120, but she failed in proving that. But she has proved that at least in these 100 trials, her speed was 116 words per minute. That means far greater than 100 words per minute. Yes. So if we want to ignore the whole exercise of finding stenographer with exactly 120 words or greater than that speed, we can go for selection of this particular candidate because this is best among the available. But so far as the statistical analysis and conclusion is concerned, we are not required to give this type of answer in at least examinations. In real life, all these things have to be discussed. But so far as your learning, preparation, etc. of testing of hypothesis as a topic of statistics is concerned, here the case is over. The claim of the stenographer is not acceptable. That means her speed of taking dictation is less than 120 words per minute. Some kind of negative remark is just with reference to her claim only. Her claim of 120 words per minute or more is not acceptable. Though she has proved herself with her speed greater than 120 words per minute. But that is practical aspect. In the next lecture, we are going to learn few more things for this particular case. And there will be the arrive at the conclusion on the basis of the sketch of the normal curve and also the p-value. That's it. Thank you very much.